And now we shall move on to the first evaluator who is evaluating the first speech of TM Jamilat, and the evaluator is Kauto. Kauto, evaluating Jamilat. Over to you.
Okay. Okay.
Is the evaluator here?
He's here, but
Yes, yes.
I don't recognize.
Oh, okay. Thank you, General Evaluator. So I'll be evaluating the first speaker. The title of our speech was, "What does success mean to you?" And okay, yes. The title of our speech was, "What does success mean to you?" And the purpose of the speech was for her to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. So I would say generally, she gave us a well-structured, what would I say, speech. She gave us a well-structured speech, and she was able to use gestures very well. She seemed really comfortable with the audience. However, at the beginning of the speech, it did seem like I felt like she was reading at the beginning of the speech, although that's changed towards the end of the speech. And in the beginning, I felt like the pauses were not quite applied as much as they should have. And I also noticed that that also changed towards the end of the speech. However, the speaker was not able to give us so much of a vocal variety. For most of the speech, we had a monotone for most of the speech. And I felt like some of the transitions were a bit off. So for next speech, I would challenge her to work on using her time a little bit more, and also to try to vary her tone a little bit more. Also, it would be nice to just have the speech practice and not necessarily read them at any point. But in all, she did give us a well-structured speech. She made good eye contact. She used a lot of gestures. And for some of the, when I say misgiving at the beginning of the speech, she adjusted towards the end, like using pauses and not reading from the speech. So yes, back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much. I believe this is your first evaluation, and I shall let your evaluator to evaluate your evaluation. And with that, let's move on to the second evaluator, TM Nisa, who is going to evaluate TM Mahesh's speech. Over to you, Nisa.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Hi, Mahesh, are you there? So you have a good starting speech because you give examples of using of water. So by doing this, you attract audience attention. So for the content, you did a good research on these two things. First, you mentioned about the benefits of wastewater treatment by describe all the advantages. And the highlight part is you presented easy steps to perform a simple water treatment by using water bottle. You mentioned it is easy. It is really easy because you only need to use water bottle. And then you mentioned about this sentence. The finer the charcoal, the cleaner the water. So by saying saying this, Mahesh, it is truly defined that you did a really deep research, because no one can give this advice if they do not have knowledge on this part. So overall, you have a good clarity, clear, and your eye contact is good. You look straight to camera, and I can see that you are comfortable. You standing while deliver your speech. So Mahesh, you excel when you presented fact. You always give examples for every facts mentioned. So by doing this, it does help audience to further understand. And the second thing is you are energetic, always full of energy. And while presenting, you did pause here and there. So it is good because from there, it can attract our attention. But I would like to suggest these two things. That you may want to use pointer to change the slide so that it don't disturb your flow of presentation. And the second one, you may want to improve on your vocal variety a bit. So in conclusion, Mahesh, you have done a very good research on this topic. Congratulations for having completed your first level presentation mastery. So dear all Toastmaster, please give him a round of applause for this wonderful speech. And I look forward for your next speech, Mahesh. Thank you, and back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Nurul, for your evaluation. It's also your first time evaluating, and you have a dedicated evaluator to evaluate your speech, and I shall leave it to the evaluator to evaluate your speech. Now, let's call upon Chin Xiang, DL5, to evaluate Kauta's speech. Over to you, Chin Xiang.
Thank you. Give me a second. Let me find Toastmaster Kauta. Hold on. Give me 1 second, really quick. All right. So, hello everyone. And first of all, can everyone help me please to give Toastmaster Kauta a huge round of applause for attempting her first evaluation. It is definitely a very immense feat, and it's not something very simple. It also took me a lot of confidence just to do my first evaluation, and seeing you be able to do it right here and there, I must applaud you for your confidence. That is amazing job. Well done on that. Something I really like, some things I really like about your evaluation. When you start off, you already reaffirm the speech objective of the speaker. You read out the speech objective, and that's something I rarely see being done, and I feel that should always be done. You read out the speech objective and saying that speaker has or has not achieved the speech objective. That's something I like to add in also, but the reaffirming part is always important. Secondly, I also noticed that your evaluation was very on point. All your points you've given to the speaker, I feel that will also help him, to help Toastmaster Jamila to also bring her speech to the next level. I also agree with all your evaluations. Well done on that. And also, you have a very, very strong ending just to wrap everything and strengthen all your points you had in the beginning. That is very important, as an ending is the most important thing to an evaluation, right after all the points that is. So some things I would like to suggest you are, when you give an evaluation, you can attempt the sandwich method. Well, what is the sandwich method, you may ask? Sandwich method is this: that there are 3 steps to an evaluation: the good things, the things you would like them to improve on, and the conclusion. So as you can see now, I'm also using the sandwich method. I started off with the things I liked about the speech, and then now I'm moving on to the things to improve on. This is the most common method we all use for our evaluations. And I think everyone, also all the experienced Toastmaster evaluators, they will also use this later on. Just take a look later, you see. Next, I would like to also suggest you not to use some negative terms like however or but. For example, you say there are no or little local variety. I didn't take the exact words down, but I think it's something like that. Try to use something like, an example sentence you can fix is, Toastmaster Jamila, I noticed that what you can improve on is your vocal variety. You can add in more vocal variety to give flavor to your speech. Something you can do without using however or but. And also, I also noticed that you use a lot of you statements, as in, I found that you use this, or you like this, or you can improve on this. Something I like to suggest to you is, instead of you statements, use I statements. Now, how do I say that? I feel like you can improve on this. So it sounds more of a suggestion rather than an order. Because if I say, you should work on this, it feels like I'm ordering you to work on this specific part. Instead, trying to say, I suggest you work on this. So it feels more of a suggestion, feels more friendlier. That's my suggestion to you. And to challenge yourself, try to motivate your speaker as you were giving your evaluation. That is always the important part. You evaluate, all of us here, we evaluate to motivate. And to wrap up, you had good, you reaffirmed the speech objective, your evaluation was on point, and a good conclusion. Something to work on, the sandwich method. You try to avoid negative statements and also try to use more if statements and to motivate your motivate your speaker while giving your evaluation. That is all. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Inziang. Yes, that's a very great tip for all evaluators, not to use the word however or but, because these words sounds, suddenly you are elevating the speaker, and when you use however or but, it brings the morale of the person down. And yes, always give suggestions on your point of view. So I suggest, I feel, probably I felt it that way, you know. So you give your suggestions or your improvement based on what you feel, not based on what you should do or you have to do. That's beautiful. That's awesome. It's something all of us should learn. And this comes with practice. It doesn't happen that one day you can change to be a super evaluator. Nobody is a super evaluator, even though we have to go on trying multiple times. You can see Uma has given such a beautiful evaluation just now. I'm sure she didn't learn that in just one day. It takes over time, years, months to be a better evaluator. And we are all in the learning journey. So that's what Toastmasters is for. Now, let's learn and hear what Toastmaster Menon has to share with us based on what Toastmaster Nisa gave her speech. Over to you, Menon.
Menon, you're muted.
You see what I mean? Okay. After listening to Chen Xian, I thought, wow, he has taken all the words out of my mouth. But I will try. Nisa, you started very well. And I noticed that you used the sandwich method. Good. You actually pointed out two good points in the beginning. That is how he has done his research, and he has presented his research in a way that he is actually showing out that he had done a very good research for this particular subject that he has chosen. I would say that you have also mentioned about him showing us how filtration is so simple in a practical way in terms of a presentation form. I would have asked him actually to show a physical, take the bottle, bring the bottle along, pour murky water in, and get the product. That would have a definite effect on the audience. Next, I also suggest that the feedback that was given, like in vocal variety, eye contact, gestures, many of those items, some of which you already mentioned, good. At least the speaker knows where to improve on. As far as the improvement for the speaker is concerned, you did mention two areas for him to improve. Well done. I would have said the same things. I would have also added a few other items. But in your speech, at least you added the ones that was mattered, the one that mattered to the speaker at that point. I would also say that you had shown the way to improve on his next speech, as in you have given an example on how to improve. When you talk about vocal gesture, vocal variety, you can actually demonstrate what you mean. Similarly, on your body gestures, you can actually mention it, show it to them as an example, so he will understand the next time. On a conclusion, good, you have actually congratulated him. And as I would also congratulate you for having done very well on your first evaluation. And I look forward to listening to more evaluations from you from today. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Menon. Yes, I love the point where we have to demonstrate. And just to add on a little bit, when you demonstrate, explain to the person at which sentence where to stress it. Because not everywhere you can stress your vocal variety. Imagine if we have our vocal variety very high or too much vocal variety all the time. It's not going to sound good. We have to have a flow up and down. So when you ask the person to demonstrate, tell exactly where, which sentence, and how. Just like how Toastmaster Uma did, the what, the why, and the how. That's a beautiful evaluation that we can do. And to the speaker, Toastmaster Mahesh, I would say I loved your confidence when you spoke. And as you're doing the research, I would love to see some notes on where you have taken your research. It brings more value to the topic that you have researched. And yes, I missed out the now Toastmaster Jamilat. I love the way you shared on how to be successful and what we can do to be successful. Well done. Now, let's move on to our evaluation of the third speaker, Toastmaster Lawrence, who is going to evaluate Toastmaster Farhan. Can I invite Toastmaster Lawrence, please?
Congratulations, DM Farhan Fuad. I really enjoy your speech. Well done. For a first timer, you got it all. And you're really, really polite and have that compelling stage presence with your smart attire. Look at him, so smartly dressed for the speech. Yeah. Now, from what I see, you spoke smilingly, and that endears you to all of us, to all the audience. And I liked your well-structured speech, and especially your chronology of your overseas trip. And what, remember before you started your speech, I did ask you personally what you want to improve. And you're trying to say you need to improve in this area about tone. So as an evaluator, I find actually your tone is a bit flat, but I'm sorry, I shouldn't be using the word but. But you can take it to a higher level by, voice variety. But what you, sorry, when you show emotions, try to show it in your body language. Now, this is called congruence in the counseling terms. Congruence means when you speak, let's say you spoke about you coming home and you feel the sadness. When you're saying that, you don't smile anymore. You must show that, no? You must show that sadness. So there must be congruence in that, where your speech matches your content and your emotions. So what I would say that your speech is really great, and your gestures, perhaps you can improve on your gestures by just standing up a bit. You're seated, right, Farhan? Okay. So they say that the best is still to stand up a bit and show more of yourself. But don't worry, it's just an icebreaker. And you have done exceedingly well already. So on your gestures, you can do that. I saw you holding your mic most of the time, your mic there. So if you can avoid that, and I would say you have that eye contact, but you still need to focus on that pin and that pinhole, and your audience awareness is there, and I do find you feel comfortable. You have that flair for the language too. They always say those who go overseas, they tend to acquire that confidence actually. Though you may say you are not so confident, but when you're overseas, I'm sure you pick up a lot of good things. So overall, I believe that you have all the makings of a good Toastmaster. And I would like to really congratulate you. Kudos to you. You are on the way to be a Toastmaster of distinction. So congratulations. Over to you, Toastmaster of the evening. GE, sorry.
Thank you so much, Lawrence. Lawrence, I love the first word you uttered. Congratulations, to elevate the speaker, and also told the speaker how smartly he dressed. Wow, the speaker is ready, filled, so happy for his first speech to listen to your evaluation. A tip for you, Toastmaster Lawrence, is when you mention that he should demonstrate sadness, show that sadness. You were smiling all throughout. Smile is good, but when you are trying to demonstrate it, tell the person, when you demonstrate sadness, show that you are sad. You know, instead of smiling and saying so it's the same thing, but you have given the evaluation. Overall, well done. You have elevated the speaker, and I'm sure the speaker has learned some tips on how he can improve for his next speech. Next speaker is Dr. Rashid. Dr. Rashid, who will be evaluating, oh yes, Toastmaster Farhan, your icebreaker speech was done very well, and now I know more about you and how you were brought up from the US and back to Malaysia and what you're looking for. I'm sure your friends here in UTP will be more corresponding with you to make you feel as their family, especially in Toastmasters. All right, so Toastmaster Dr. Rashid, who is going to evaluate Toastmaster Emily on her speech. Over to you.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Can I confirm if I'm audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Toastmaster Emily, you can if you think you can. The topic on its own is captivating. It's energetic. It shows energy, it portrays energy, just like you have portrayed a full bunch of energy to us today. Your speech is entirely motivational. You have motivated each and every one of our members tonight. Let me judge you based on the two previous speeches that I have listened from you. There is a tremendous improvement from the subsequent speeches from you, Emily. In the past, you used to speak reading from the script. You are having a very bad eye contact with the camera. But today, Emily, you have shown us that there's a transformation. You have listened to the evaluators in your subsequent speeches because you are much more comfortable with the camera. You have good eye contact. Okay, you are not reading from your text as against before. I like the transformation. I like the messages that you have shared with us. You choose your words. You brought in a lot of quotes in your speech, just to motivate us, the listeners. You know, when you said we can learn a lot from failure, I felt it. And I'm sure every one of us felt it as well. When you say, think you can, and then you can. This is big and this is huge. It's motivational. Okay. And you ask and you shall be given is another quote you shared with us. So the overall transformational story about those successful people, how did they live their daily life? You portrayed it excellently well. And then you shared with us about Orange, which was a bit interesting, the transformation, you know, how he becomes a hero. That's fantastic as well. So Emily, how can we take your speech to the next level? Because I could see a better you through the eyes of Toastmasters. So try and stick around, give more speeches. The first thing I noticed is that your gestures, you were just raising your hand. At some point, they were becoming distractive. Your hands were just on top, just swinging up and just holding them up like this. Try to learn about gestures. They speak for us. They help us connect with the audience. So they have a particular meaning. Go to the Google, go to the YouTube, find out what are gestures and how can they aid my presentation or my speech. Doing this can greatly bring your speech to the next level. I mean, I see you as a better leader, a better speaker, because you chose leadership development with your purpose. So apart from gestures, you could want to bring in engagement into your speech. Try to just push in some things to the audience and let them answer, okay? And lastly, I would want you to skip that introduction part. Hello, everyone, my name is Emily, skip that. Go straight to the point. Start with a bang, okay, so that you can hold your audience. But overall, I enjoyed your speech, and I'm sure each and every member of this who participated in this meeting tonight also enjoyed your speech. I wish you the very best, and I'll look out and watch out for your next subsequent speech, Emily. I wish you all the best. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Dr. Rashid, for the evaluation. You have elevated our speaker a lot by telling her what she did well, and also you have given some suggestions on hand gestures and also engagement with the audiences, and also told her to read or see, listen to how gestures is done. Another thing what you can do is, Emily, you can also see the great speeches or winning speeches of Toastmasters International and learn from there as well, learn from observation. And Emily, I love your title. You can if you think you can. I love your energy. And you know, seriously, I see a lot of potential in you, so much so that you can be a winning speaker. You can easily be a winning speaker. This is your second speech in Toastmasters, right? After the icebreaker. Yeah, you've done exceptionally well. I love your speech. I love your energy. And thank you so much, Dr. Rashid. If I were to give you any kind of improvement, I noticed that certain things you've been repeating it, the same thing over and over again. Probably don't repeat the same thing. You can just do it in your summary, but not keep repeating the points, right? Thank you. Now, let's welcome our last speaker for today, Toastmaster Aishu, who is going to evaluate Hizbullah.
Hello. Okay. All right. So, Hizbullah. Your speech was actually a very timely topic for me because I was just reading up on self-respect and respect just before this meeting started. Okay, so I'm gonna touch on content first, okay? So your speech was very humorous. I really enjoyed it. And your opening was strong. Like the moment you started, I was like, what is he gonna talk about? Okay. And you gave abundant of examples on how you personify respect and how you felt when you didn't receive it. Okay. What I felt that you could have done better. Your conclusion was good, but I feel that your conclusion could have touched on your content points and then you tie it back to your opening. So the whole thing becomes wholesome, you see? All right. Next thing, your facial expressions. You said you're handsome, right? So milk it, use it for its money's worth. Okay, it was good, but I feel like you could have done it a bit more better. To when you're giving your story examples, you can use your facial expressions a little bit stronger to exaggerate your point. Okay, what I felt that you can improve your content. While I felt that your speech was easy to follow, I feel like maybe the content could have been formatted to be more structured. Let's say, for example, you give 1 point and then you give your story example, then the lesson that you learn, and then your next point, the example, the lesson. Okay. Now, when it comes to delivery, you have very good body language. When you came up close to you know, how do you say, to show that point, the importance of that point, that was very smart. And you were standing. So, I mean, that is something that is commendable, and I appreciate it because it is an extra effort that you're putting. And your vocal variety as well. When you said, bro, boleh diam tak? The first one and the second one, there was a difference that you used to show why you're frustrated and how you're supposed to assert your dominance. That was very clear. But you did say you said it politely. I don't understand how that was polite, but okay.
That's how boys polite.
Okay, with delivery, what you could have done better. So when you started your speech, it felt for me like, you know, when you start a car on a rainy day, it felt a bit like stuck. But as you got into it, it was very smooth and flowing. So I think this is just easily remedied by practice. So you just keep practicing, it will just get better. Okay. So to review, great job on your opening. You had very impactful examples. Your body language and your vocal varieties was very good. It would have been even better if you had more structured content and your conclusion tied everything together. So overall, I felt that you really used the feedback received from the first speech very good. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aishu, for the feedback. It would be better if you can just mention what were the points in the first sheet that you had and tie that to the evaluation so that we have a clearer picture on what actually was told to improve and how did they improve it. Overall, I love the way you delivered your evaluation. You shared the good points, you shared the points of improvement, and then the good points again, and then gave a little tip on improvement. And yes, the content, when you shared on structuring the content, you also gave examples on how to structure the content. Example, you said, give the example and then the lesson, the example, and then the lesson. So beautifully said. I love your evaluation. Thank you so much, Aishu, and I'm sure the speaker would have learned a lot from you. And for Toastmaster Hizbullah, I loved your topic, the way you said that we should have our self-respect. I learned that from you. All right. Thank you so much. And now that concludes our evaluations for all our evaluators. And it's time for the technical role players report. Can I call upon the grammarian, Divya, to give her report, please?
Thank you, General Evaluator. So for the word of the day, 4 people used the word. That's Toastmasters Menon, Toastmasters Jamilat, Toastmasters Farhan, and Toastmasters Umar. And moving on, let me speak about the positive side first. So I'm going to state the list of quotes, thoughts, words, and sayings that I was impressed by. So firstly, Toastmasters Menon said, by the judging of me, I'll judge others. And before that, please correct me if I'm wrong. I only could write whatever I could grasp. So please forgive me if I had made a mistake. Moving on, Toastmasters Jamilat said, be contented and stay happy. Then Toastmasters Emily said, success is never final, failure is never fatal. And she also used the phrase nick of the time. Whereas Toastmaster Farhan said, being challenged in life is inevitable, but being defeated is optional. Then Toastmasters Hizbullah, you caught my attention when you said, I'm dark and handsome, watch out ladies. And he also said, what does not kill you makes you stronger. And self-respect is the manifestation towards your work and attitude. Toastmasters Uma, on the other hand, used the phrase bundle or ball of energy. And Toastmasters Dr. Rashid said, use the word captivating. Now, moving on to the improper grammatical uses and suggestions for improvements, Toastmasters Jamila used the word persistence in your sentence where you could have used persistency. And Toastmasters Mahesh, you used the phrase saying a lot of water, where you could have used the word of the day, abundance, abundance of water. Toastmasters Emily, there were a few grammatical errors in your sentences. For instance, you said is always, orange is always superhero, where you could have said has always been a superhero. Then magic is come from. You could say magic comes from the, and friends surround us. You could have said friends surrounding us or friends around us. Lastly, you said there is no anything, whereas you could have used the phrase there isn't anything or there is nothing. Moving on to Toastmasters Farhan, you use the sentence sound, look, and all that. Instead of using all that, you could have used etc. Toastmasters Hizbullah, you said to put it simple, where you could have improved it and said to put it simply. And you could work on your plurals and also the is and are verbs. Toastmasters Uma, I realized that you have used the word very in many sentences. For instance, you said very wonderful, but you could have said fantastic or remarkable, and also you could cut the use of very. Toastmasters Kotar, you used the word however, where you could have used nevertheless or more, and you used in the beginning 3 times where you could use other words like initially. Toastmasters Lisa, you said by describe, it could be improved by saying by describing, and you said really deep, but you could have just said deep. Toastmasters Tinxiang, you have used the word also many times, you could cut the use of also. And Toastmasters Aishu, I realized that you've used very and so a few times, you could cut the use of it. And that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Romarian Divya. I like the way you mentioned on who used the word of the day. And also when you mentioned the good phrases, you mentioned who mentioned the good phrases. For points of improvement, when you mention the good phrases, yes, it is good to mention who have mentioned the words, but if you mention improper grammatical, you don't need to mention the name of the person who said that. Just mention that this is a poor grammatical and this is how you should say, right? Something that we can learn, because nobody likes to be pinpointed. Oh, you said this. Oh, you said this. But you say something nice and we say, yes, I said this. So try to use that method of grammar. Thank you so much. You were really attentive to the grammar. Next, can I call upon Nazira for her own counter report?
Hi everyone, good evening. Let me share my screen first. All right, so for the counter report, I would like to congratulate TM team, TM Jamila, TM Mahesh, TM Emily, and TM Dr. Rashid for having no crutches at all. Okay. So for TM Ahmad, there's 3 crutches. TM Alicia, there's 4. TM Idris, there's 14. TM Manan, there's 2. TM Alicia, as the table company speaker, there's 1. And then TM Kausar, there's total of 6. TM Gali, there's 1. And TM Farhan having 11 F. TM Hizbullah having 3 arms, 1 in and 1 eye, total 5. And then we have for the general evaluator TM Hafid, there's 2 A's. TM Umar, there's 1 eye. TM Kausar, there's 5 A, 7 arms and 1 duplicated word structured, in total 13. TM Nisa, there's 6 A's, 2 arms, total 8. TM Xinjiang, there's 1 A, 1 arms, 1 U and total 3. DTM Menon having 2 R's and 3 D, total 5. TM Lawrence, 3 R, 1 U and 1 I for duplicated words. That's total 5 characters. And for TM Aishu, there's 3 R, 2 Ms, 1 so, 1 no, 1 U no, 1 okay, and 2, which totals in 11. And lastly, the grammarian TM Lydia 2 R's. Sorry, the last one should be timer. TM Dinah, there's 0 practice as well. So thank you, and back to you, Jean.
Thank you so much, Nazira. I love the way you took the trouble to go and fill in the table and show it to all of us. That's awesome. That's beautiful. Well done. And if there is any kind of point of improvement, I would say enlarge the screen a little more because it looks very small. Maybe you can make the view a bit bigger so that we can see it clearer in our screen. That's all I have for you to improve. Well done. Now, can I call upon the timer, Zainab, to give a timing report?
All right, the timer doesn't know how to time herself when she is speaking. So firstly, I would like to say congratulations to all the speakers today. I mean, almost all the speakers except only one who exceeded the time. The time, I guess I can share it with you. Let me try to do that. Let me try to share the timer report. All right. I hope you can see the screen now. Is it? You can see it? All right. So as you can see from the screen here, all our table speakers spoke within the time frame given. None of them exceeded it. They can even speak more, but they speak lesser. So they are still within the green time frame. When we go into our prepared speeches projects 1 and 2, almost all the speakers spoke within the time frame except 1, 2 that exceeded, which was beautiful because it shows how committed you are to time. That is amazing. I hope you will keep on taking note of your time because it is so important to our lives. When we come to our evaluators, look at our evaluators. Just look how beautifully they did. Wow, that is so amazing. I'm impressed. And this comes to the end of my session because I'm not timing myself, but then I hope I haven't exceeded my time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Zainab. One thing I want to tell you, I was admiring your voice. It is so sweet. Yes, I really love your voice, Zainab. And it was an awesome timing report. Is this the first time you're a timer? Yes. Oh, a big applause to you. You did your job very well. I love the way you have put the timing colors, and you have not only read the timing, but you have also said how awesome the evaluators are, how awesome the table topics evaluators are. Beautiful. Well done, and keep it up. The only point of improvement I can give you is just the same as the R counter, make a screen a bit bigger, or enlarge it so that we can see it clearer. Other than that, it's beautiful. Awesome. Keep it up. All right. Let's look at the agenda. What we have next is the General Evaluators Report. All right. So I have given evaluations reports on the evaluators as well as my technical role players. And now I shall come upon the SAA. SAA calls meeting to order. Well done, you did your job well. If you want to do things better, maybe you can give some tips on, silencing the phone, on your video camera if you have that, not eating or drinking in a meeting, some general rules so that we can ready and fully focus on the Toastmasters meeting. President Ahmed, I love the way you welcomed the guests and you spoke about the topic on act, believe, and receive, the theme. Beautiful. Not only that, you also entertained the audience during the break time. Wow, that was awesome. A good game. I know you learned the tips on asking questions from other Toastmasters Club meeting. I noticed that you visit other Toastmasters Club meeting to get ideas and bring that ideas into this meeting. That's awesome. Well done. I love that. Just a moment, my battery is dying. Let me put up the wire before the battery dies. All right, okay. And next is the DTM Alicia, who shared with us the Club Success Series. It was beautiful, beautifully shared all the points. She is a pro. She knows what and how to talk to the audiences. And if there is any kind of point of improvement I would want to give you for the Club Success Series is, I would like you to have some interaction with the audience. As I see that this club, although it's new, in the first 3 months, they already had 4 new members. So probably get them to share what did they do or how did they share how did they get the 4 members, right? So if we have a little of interaction so that doesn't look like a one-way street, but it looks like a 2-way conversation. Well done. And then DTM Alicia also was the Toastmaster of the evening. She gave a beautiful introduction of the Toastmaster, even the agenda, what we have to go through, the pathways, and she has full of high energy throughout the meeting. And her energy never goes less. Nobody can tell you what is her age. She is ever young, as ever energetic. I love the way she introduced the speaker. She introduced the speaker while introducing the speaker, the title, and the speaker. Well done. This is the way that all of us should learn when we call upon the speaker as the TME. If there is any point of improvement, Alicia, I would say that control your laughter. Yes, control your laughter, because I know that you love to laugh, but see where you have to laugh and where you should not laugh. Because if you laugh throughout the meeting, it can sound a little awkward at times. And when you speak or introduce the speaker or the role play, try to be more positive in words. Like, for example, you were saying, oh, it's not easy to be a timer. They have to time everything. Perhaps you can change that to say, it's such an awesome to be a timer. We have to focus on how we can think, how we can listen as well as time and stay focused at the same time. You know, as well as when you were saying the evaluating the evaluator is very complicated, you can turn it on to say that, wow, we have an awesome evaluation. We not only evaluate the speakers, but we have evaluators and general evaluators to evaluate the evaluator, and we get to learn even more from that. So that gives a more positive energy, and being a new club, UTP Toastmasters Club, they will feel even more motivated to be an evaluator or even a general evaluator in future. Beautiful, well done. now comes to the table topic. Master Idris, you explained the Toastmasters role, and I love your questions. They were very easy, and they were all about yourself. So anybody for that matter should be able or can answer the questions. Well done. And I also like the way you asked the senior member to come first so that the junior members or the new members can see an example on how the table topics is done, and then they will not feel afraid and they will feel more happy and daring to try on the table topics as well. If there is any point of improvement that I can give you, I would say that there is a little of echo in your mic. I know you've got a nice mic and the nice mic and speaker. Perhaps your speaker. Let's do a testing. Maybe in before your meeting start, you can do this testing. Put your speaker a little further from your mouth so that you don't have that sound. Okay, let's try that. Probably that would make your voice clearer. And normally the table topic master would encourage the speakers to use the word of the day, because we are so much engrossed in the meeting that often we forget to use the word of the day. So as a table topic master, you can continuously encourage the speaker, use the word of the day today. The word of the day is abundance. Let's live in abundance. Use the word of the day. So that motivates the table topic speakers to use the word of the day. And now comes to my general evaluation. I'm very impressed being a new club. In just 3 months, you managed to get 4 new members. That's awesome. In so many Toastmasters Club, people are struggling to find new members to join the meeting. There are clubs which don't even have 1 new member in the last 3 months, but you have 4 new members. That's awesome. I give you all a big round of applause for that. And you got a good turnout. Wow, 25 people attending the meeting. I love the way you use the chat window. All of you are using the chat window and just boom, 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 putting up your message and motivating people, congratulating people. And that keeps the meeting even more active and hyper. So everyone is even more excited. Even though we've been here for almost 3 hours, it doesn't seem to be that long because of the interaction, not only in the meeting, but also in the chat window. And the Kahoot game to keep the energy level during the break. That's awesome. If I were to give this club any point of improvement, I would say that in your agenda, when you arrange for the speakers to speak, try to arrange the lowest first and the highest later. What do I mean by this? The first speech is the icebreaker. So put the icebreaker first. Then level 1, project 1. All those people doing level 1, project 1. Then all those people doing level 1, project 2. Then research and presenting. And then level 2, level 3, and so forth. So arrange it in that manner that the first one is the icebreaker. That way, the flow of the meeting is more beautiful, more nicer, right? And I love the games that you play. You have 10 minutes break, but some of us here wants to go to toilet. So when you have the break, maybe give a 2 minutes bio break, and then the 8 minutes you play the game, so that people don't need to haul going to the toilet and not going to the toilet. Okay, so this is just a small tip that I would like to give it to you. And for the SAA, when the speakers and the evaluations was going on, you have pinned the speaker, you have pinned the evaluator beautifully. Probably when there was a table topic evaluation, you can also pin the table topic speaker so that we can see how the expression of the speaker is, how acceptance that speaker is to take the evaluation. That's all I have from my side, and it's beautiful. It's an awesome experience. I'm amazed that being a new club, you have great speakers, you have great evaluators, and you are doing so well. I'm sure your mentors are taking very good care of you. Keep it up, and well done. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmasters of the evening.